So there's this old idea, that you have to rescue your father from the belly of the whale, a monster that's deep in the abyss. We already know from a clinical perspective that if you set out a path towards a goal, you decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice, because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that. You experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. The better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. That's one of the reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. What you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that you have to accomplish that frighten you, because it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges. What you want to do when you identify something that someone is avoiding that they need to do because they're afraid, you have them voluntarily confront it. What happens is they don't get less afraid exactly, they get braver. It's like there's more of them. And here's why. So imagine you do something new, and that's informative, right? There's information in the action, and then you can incorporate that information and turn it into a skill and turn it into a transformation of your perceptions. So there's more to you because you've tried something new. So that's one thing. But the second thing is, if you put yourself in a new situation, then new genes code for new proteins and build new neural structures and new nervous system structures. Same thing happens to some degree when you work out, right? Because your muscles are responding to the load, but your nervous system does that too. So you imagine that there's a lot of potential you locked in your genetic code. And if you put yourself in a new situation, the stress that's produced by that particular situation unlocks those genes and then builds new parts of you. Who knows how much there is locked inside of you. Let's assume that scales as you take on heavier and heavier loads. That more and more of you get more and more informed because you're doing more and more difficult things, but more and more of you gets unlocked. What that would imply is that if you got to the point where you could look at the darkest thing, the abyss, look at that straight and directly, that would turn you on maximally. That's the idea of rescuing your father. You're the potential composite of all the ancestral wisdom that's locked inside of you biologically. That's not going to come out at all unless you stress yourself, unless you challenge yourself. And the bigger the challenge you take on, the more that's going to turn on. As you take on a broader and broader range of challenges and you push yourself harder, then more and more of what you could be turns on, and that's equivalent to transforming yourself into the ancestral father. Because you're the consequence of all these living beings that have come before you, and that's all part of your biological potentiality. And then if you can push yourself, then all of that clicks on, and that turns you into who you could be, a re-representation of that positive ancestral father. So that's why you rescue your father from the belly of the beast.